Okay. My name is Ann Barret Keller. I grew up in the same ward with Karen and Bill, and at one point my dad was the bishop, and it was, I remember Karen when we first moved there. I started 4th grade, and she was in my primary class, and we had got together, and I remember Sister Johnson at one point was our primary teacher, and we had some interesting experiences because we didn't have a church building to meet at. We rented a building down on State Street for sacrament meeting and Sunday school, and then in the middle of the week for primary we met at some kind of a recreational building. It was west of the Sandy Elementary School down there, and it was just the way it was, so we didn't really think anything about it. But Karen was in my primary class, and Lark Rogers, and a bunch of other kids, Sherry Johnson, and just Karen was always there, and she had these older brothers and these younger sisters, and we just always knew who each other were, and hung out together and did things together, mostly at the church, through church functions.
What type of things would you do at the church functions? Like just Sunday school lessons, or did you like play basketball, or things sort of like?
Well, I remember when we were in primary, we had a cooking class, and I remember how good that tasted, what Sister Johnson made. It was just so good. It was some kind of an open-faced sandwich with made with Spam.
Oh my goodness.
And I had never had Spam before, and I thought, oh, this tastes so good. That's the one thing I remember particularly doing. And then, of course, in Young Women's and things like that. Just the various church activities that they had with the road shows, or with the dance festivals, or with just the weekly activities. Sometimes we'd have, I think, what they call a Mariesta, where we had a ward fundraising thing. We had dinner and booths, and I remember people selling things like they'd embroider pillowcases and things like that. And they don't do things like that anymore, but we all got together and helped in various ways when they built the building that's no longer there.
The one right off of
the one with the A-frame roof.
And the heart
with the heart in the center. Yeah, in the center.
Yep, Ellen Atkinson, Grandma's dad, actually helped build that church.
Yeah.
I bet a lot of people you knew did help with that.
Yeah, we all went over and helped, and like I say, various things. The guys would go over and break rocks or move dirt or do whatever. And I remember when it was all done and we were getting ready for the dedication, my sister and I and Boyd Lee were going through, and Rita Lee, his wife, was our Beehive advisor, and we just loved that lady. But we went over and we wiped down and polished all the woodwork on the benches, the whole chapel. And we thought we'd really accomplished something when we were done, because it was a lot of work for some kids. But Karen was just always there and always part of the group. I don't think we had classes together in school much after elementary school. I do remember she took German at one point, and it was so funny because you're walking down the hall at school, and she'd come up to say hi or to walk with you for a minute, get to your other classes, and she just would start giggling, and she says, "Ich liebe dich, ich liebe dich." Look at her. What are you talking about? Well, that's how you say "I love you" in German. Ich liebe dich is more kind of how it goes. My husband has a degree in German. Okay. So I get, the advanced German on occasion. But anyway, I just will never forget. Karen would say, "Ich liebe dich," and then we just all giggle because it just sounded so foreign and silly. It is foreign, but it was silly.
For sure.
Anyway, and then, of course, after high school, and I went to college and came back for the summers and got together again with the kids in the ward. And Bill came home from his mission, and he and my brother were good friends, and so we always would keep track of who was where, you know. And okay, so, and Karen says, who is there to date around here? I don't know. I just got back from college. I don't know. Bill just got home. Bill Cook just got home from his mission. And back then it was Billy Cook. Billy Cook just got home from his mission. And, I wouldn't date him if he was the last person on earth. You know. And so then Bill said, at another place and time, not too distant time-wise from that, and he said, who's still around? Who isn't married yet? All the girls married. I said, well, Karen Atkinson's still single. Oh, wouldn't date her if she was the last woman on earth. And we have laughed at that over the years so many times because, you know, seeing the life that they made together. They were just made for each other, or they made it their life together, and they just both seemed so happy together, and it was just a perfect match. It was wonderful. After they married, at one point they were living in a little place down, I think, on State Street somewhere, and they invited my husband and I to come have dinner with them, and so we went down there, and that was a fun evening. Spent time with them, and another time we went up to Lagoon with them, and I think at that point I was expecting my first baby, and we had a good time, and I think that's about the last time I was at Lagoon. It was, and I always will have those memories of hanging out with good friends. And now it's like ward family. And even though I hadn't seen Karen or Bill until like just a few years ago at our 50th high school reunion. And it's like no time passed. Because even though you haven't been in touch and haven't done a lot together, there is a bond. There is a bond between ward family members as well as blood family members. And Karen and Bill are just dear, good people, and just so sorry to hear of her challenges and troubles, but on the other hand, what a crown and a reward she's got now. And what a beautiful legacy with her family, and such a tribute to see so many people here tonight. And so always good memories of my dear little primary friend, Karen Atkinson Cook.
Can I jump back for just a sec? And in high school, were you guys in the same sort of friend group? You said that you were talking. No,
we
just talking to you from.
Well, we hung out more at church.
Okay.
Sunday school and primary and young women's, but we didn't really travel in the same circles. Okay. We took different kinds of classes and things, but you know, you're always there to fall back on. We never had any friction or anything.
I don't
but
think she had friction with anyone, honestly. She was just always.
Yeah, and one thing that always impressed me about Karen was she always seemed to know exactly what she wanted and how she wanted to do things. She just never seemed to, whatever you want, I guess. She never was like that. She always seemed to be decisive and know exactly what she wanted to do. It wasn't that she was unbendable, but she wasn't wishy-washy.
For sure.
And she just a wonderful gal. And I'm glad that she's got such a wonderful legacy and a beautiful family, and that she and Bill were so happy together. And you can tell because Bill is he's just so happy all the time, just like he used to be when he was a kid. And so, I mean, that says a lot, you know, that they've kept their jubilant personalities. So.
And how fun that you kind of sparked the magic in a way, I guess you could say. That's awesome.
I didn't put them together. It's just I heard from each of them.
Well, and you were able to kind of feed that, the little birdie told me type of thing story.
No. We just let it happen. But it was just interesting that each of them said the same thing about the other one, and then we just laughed because of what happened. But I think they were just so good for each other. They just always seemed pleasant and happy, getting along. Everything's just, it was wonderful. It was so good to see Bill tonight, and just hope things go well for the future. We just never know how much time we've got left, but. And I hear Karen was 71. Well, I'm 72, so who knows how much time we've got and what's in store for us. But thank goodness we have the eternal goal. Yeah. We know we have testimonies, and we know that it's not the end. It's not the end. So I'm just so happy that she is no longer suffering and in pain. But we're the ones that will be at the loss because we miss her. But,
well, thank you very much.
And that sounds silly for me to say that because I haven't seen her for such a long time. But like I say, when we did see each other, it was just like, no time's passed. We're just still the same old Karen and Ann and whatever.
Yeah.
So.
That's special.